There are over 1,500 homeless students in Richmond Public Schools. Homeless. Students who have no place to sleep, no place to call home. Some are sleeping in shelters, some in motels, others doubled up with friends and family. A few are in even worse situations, sleeping in cars, in the park. All of these sleeping arrangements are time limited. The motels when the money runs out, the family and friends when generosity and patience run out. The question, where will I sleep tonight, is distraction enough. But there are also the distractions of finding enough food, navigating transportation, safety, family craziness, and all that comes with being poor. Teens who are homeless are especially vulnerable to poor health outcomes, substance abuse, depression, mental illness, joblessness, and more. One of these mores is school failure. It's hard to study when you don't have a place to sleep. It's hard to study when you've moved to a new home and you have to figure out transportation to school. It's hard to study when you're hungry. It's hard to study when you attend a crappy school. No surprise here, a 2005 study of 18 to 21-year-old homeless youth found that only two-thirds of them had not received a high school diploma or a GED. But here's the cool thing. Despite slogging through homelessness and poverty and all that mess, there are kids who graduate from high school who want to go on to college. Seriously, if you met one of these kids, wouldn't you just want to scoop them up and all their things and carry them to their college dorm? Wouldn't you want to buy their textbooks? Wouldn't you want to invite them home for Thanksgiving? Yeah, you would. We all would. I help run a small, all-volunteer program called Change the World RVA that supports homeless high school students in 3 Richmond high schools. Getting them to graduation is one goal. Everyone is better off if these kids get a high school diploma. But unlike almost all the other services out there for youth, if one of our students wants to go to college, we stick with them until they get that diploma in their hand. Think of all the support you've received or that you've given to a child as they went through college. Now imagine that you're a first-generation college student who has or is homeless, has been homeless or is homeless. One bump in the road, bumps in the road that your kids, my kids, would navigate just fine. That bump in the road will totally derail these kids from their dream of getting a college degree. A bad roommate, getting to the bookstore and finding that you can't afford that $200 biology textbook, a failed midterm, 2 failed midterms, nowhere to go for Thanksgiving or Christmas break. Without a little help, these kids with their big dreams would have to give up. It takes a whole community of caring adults to help our students get through college. That's what we're trying to create for each child, and they will always be children to me. We don't pay their tuition, at least not yet, but we drive them and all their stuff to the dorm. We take them out to lunch with their new roommate. We find them laptops and help them pay for books. We make sure they have enough to eat that month or so before the financial aid check comes in. We send care packages and letters and cards of encouragement. We help them find tutors. We help them navigate the services and resources that are available at their particular campus. We invite them into our homes for Thanksgiving, for Christmas break, spring break, for the summer, whatever it takes. If you're determined to graduate from college, we will move heaven and earth to make sure that happens. Not every kid wants it badly enough, at least not yet, but many students do. And as a community, it is incumbent on us to help them succeed. It doesn't take a lot. It just takes commitment and a long string of little lift-ups that make a big difference in a young person's life, that when added up, change everything. I'll close with one story, and I have many stories, but this is one of my favorite examples of what a kid can do when adults step up and say, we will help you. Marquine is one of our students. We met Marquine when he graduated from high school. He was sleeping on his cousin's couch in Southside Richmond. We helped him land his first job as a bagger at Martin's grocery store. He enrolled at Reynolds Community College in the fall. And then he moved back home with his mom in Chesterfield County, where he was several miles from the nearest bus stop. He tried patching together rides to school with friends and family members, but it was hard. On election day, one of my friends volunteered to take Marquine to the polls. And while they were standing in line, she told him that he was going to have to drop out of school because the transportation issue was becoming impossible. He was crushed, but finding transportation was just too much. The volunteer, my friend, called me that night and told me his news. So, while watching the election returns that night, I sent an email to almost every single person I know in Richmond. And I said that I wanted one person to drive him to the bus every Monday, another to drive him on Tuesday, another on Wednesday and Thursday, so that he would never have to worry about transportation to school again. By the time I went to bed that night, I had 3 days covered. The next morning, I was driving to work, and I got a phone call from a woman that I barely knew. And she says, "Natalie, I've been looking for something to do, and I think this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I will drive Marquine to school 5 days a week." Well, it turns out he only needed to go to school 4 days a week, and there I was with 8 days covered. Marquine has just finished his second year at Reynolds. He made the dean's list. He's been promoted at Martin's 2 or 3 times. I've lost count. When his mom was in a car accident recently and wrecked their car, we started driving him to and from work as well as to school. He has his driver's license and is saving diligently to buy a car. He wants to start his own clothing line, and he started by making t-shirts. He got a sewing machine for Christmas, and he's learned to make a pillow. He's hit big bumps in the road, really big ones, but he perseveres, and he makes everyone who knows him so proud. He will have a very large cheering section when he graduates from college. Of this, I am absolutely certain. So it's the little lift-ups that change the world. And I invite you to do as Mother Teresa suggested. Do small things with great love. It's that simple.